Hey, what is up guys, it's Mordant. So, the devs of NTE, Neverness to Everness, have just released a list of optimizations that they plan on making for the game. Now, I think yesterday they actually made a little post talking about the different kinds of feedback that they got, and now they're talking specifically about things that they're going to change. So in this video, we're going to look at every single thing that they plan on changing or optimizing for the game, whether they are good, whether they are bad. Make sure to leave your thoughts down in the comments below. If there's anything at all that you think they're changing that you don't like, please let me know down in the comments below. I'm planning on making a video talking about the things that fans want from the game, and your input would be really appreciated. With that said, let's get straight into the video. Since the thumbnail of the video talks about combat, let's actually start there. So in the combat section, we have optimizations coming to angle lock, the camera control, dodging, and some other things including monster difficulty and monster interaction. I think that's actually a good thing because when I looked at the combat, one thing that stood out to me is that enemies don't actually do anything in the game. Like, they just, most of the time they're standing there, or if it's the first boss that we face in the game, it spends a lot of time in the air or running away, which is not fun gameplay. Like, if I want an enemy, I want an enemy that is actually a threat. Like, I want an enemy that is actually trying to attack me and actually punishes me for spamming the attack button without actually thinking about what I'm supposed to do. That's good enemy design, and that's something I would like to see in the game. So hopefully the devs are actually working on this. Also, adding in a lock-on feature would be nice, so that if an enemy has some random movement or movement that might just break our camera, it would just make it a little bit easier for us to be able to keep our eyes on that enemy. So I 100% approve of this addition. Now, other things like action performance and angle lock, I don't fully understand. If anyone in the comments knows what these particular things talk about, please let me know, because I really don't understand what they are. But it looks like the devs are actually addressing issues that are very pertinent, like issues that people actually cared about, which is good. I'm very happy about that, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the devs actually do. Now, the dodging thing is something that I'm not 100% clear on. Now, dodging in the game is fine. I think from what I've seen, it's fine. You dodge, and if you attack the enemy right away, you can deal a large amount of damage, and you can also stagger them a little bit easier. So that's fine. Whatever improvement that they're making, we'll have to see. It's probably something that we may not be able to notice right away. They might have to tell us for us to be able to tell. But I think that the combat optimizations that I'm hearing of right now are actually very good. And since combat has a lot to do with movement, let's talk about the movement optimizations that they're planning on making. So the first thing that they talked about is that they're improving character walking, sprinting, climbing, and other actions. And this is good because one of the complaints that people had about the game is that sprinting is slow. And I haven't played the game myself to be able to tell, but if a lot of people are actually saying that the sprinting speed is very slow, then it probably is very slow and will need to be optimized. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with that. Now, this section didn't actually mention anything about cars and movement. There is another section that talks about it, and I will get to that section eventually. One other thing they talked about was the NPCs. So probably we'll see a lot more varied actions from NPCs that are doing different things in the world. The world in the CBT was already pretty lively. It wasn't hard to see a lot of NPCs doing a lot of things. So to be honest, I don't think this is something that needs to be changed, but the devs and the people who actually played the game know what they are looking at the best. I didn't play the CBT, so because of that, I can only give my speculations based on the limited amount of things that I actually saw. Leaving aside the things that people didn't like, let's talk about something that people did like, which is the story. So the story is going to get a little bit of optimization. There was one complaint that people had, that sometimes characters aren't really as expressive as they should be in cutscenes. Now, there are cutscenes where characters are overly expressive, and some of those cutscenes can feel like a lot, but there are some other places where character movements or character faces don't really look that good, like especially for the kind of mood that I think that they're trying to deliver for that. Their facial expressions and some other things don't really match, and the devs are actually looking into working on this. They're also planning on working on this guy's amount of lines. I really did not think they were that excessive, but there are probably people who thought they were, so I'ma just keep quiet on that one. Now, leaving the story aside, one complaint that people had was that the female MC in the game is not actually a very beautiful character to look at. I mean, it's a typical thing in most gacha games. The MCs are not really as good looking as the other characters in the game. That's just generally how it is. Normally, the way that I rationalize it is that the devs think that if the MCs look as good, then you won't really want to pull for the other characters. I don't know why they think that, but hey, let the devs be the devs. So the devs said that they are planning on working on the female MC model. They didn't say that they are going to change it. They only said they will make some small optimizations. Now, the reason why I mention it like this is because they talked about two other characters and they specifically mentioned that they will be working on their models. The two characters are Hotori and the boss of the agency that the female MC works for. By the way, for those of you who don't know who Hotori is, it's this character that you're seeing on screen right now. Why they are working on these two characters, even though they look fine to me, I do not know. If I have to be honest, if we're going with the feedback that a lot of people are giving, then the female MC should be the person getting the most work, and getting a model revamp really does not make sense to me. And by the way, for those of you like me who are wondering if we'll be able to get a male version of the MC, you will in fact be able to get a male version of the MC in the next beta test that we're going to get for the game. Now let's talk about driving and exploration. The devs said that they're planning on optimizing the cars and driving in general. They also talked about removing the renting feature in the game and replacing it with something else. Please just give us the ability to be able to steal cars from other NPCs. That would be awesome. As much as I know that we're probably not going to get that, it would be very nice if the devs just found a way to sneak it in. Like, I don't really care how they do it, just find a way to sneak in the ability to take other people's cars. But if that isn't possible, then please just give us a way to be able to get our own cars that we can be able to drive. But it would still be better if we're able to steal cars and ride them off on our own. They didn't talk about being able to run cars into NPCs. I don't know why people were so obsessed with this. Like, if we're going with the narrative that the type of games that you play and the kind of media that you consume is what defines who you are, then a lot of you who play these gacha games and all of these games are practically murderers, because you guys are out here looking for how to kill people, innocent bystanders. Why? It makes no sense. But either way, they didn't talk about that. But hopefully with more feedback, we'll be able to get devs to at least give us something that is close enough to that. One other thing that they mentioned is that all the real estate that you buy in this game will now serve as teleport waypoints. And this was one thing that I actually wanted to suggest as feedback in the video where I talk about the things that fans want, because if you look at the map in the game, the Reros, that's how I pronounce them, I don't know the correct pronunciation, the Reros and the anomaly detection thing, they're not that many, so we don't really have a lot of teleport waypoints. And I feel that our houses, all of the real estate that we get, are going to be like very useful places for us, so using them as teleport waypoints makes a lot of sense. Now, one of the last things that I wanted to talk about are performance optimizations. Now, this CN beta that just ended was a mess. Like, it wasn't really that optimized, and there were some people who couldn't run some apps in the background while running this game. They had to close those apps in order to be able to run NTE. So I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of changes that they're planning on making. Now, the next CBT has been confirmed to be multi-platform. The devs are working towards getting that CBT on both mobile and PC. So it would be really nice, especially since this is an Unreal Engine 5 game, to see it run well on both PC and also on mobile. Now, I cannot see any world where this game comes out on console while it's still in the beta phase, so we're probably not going to see a console release for the beta. And I'm very sorry if you were waiting for a console release, just wait a little while longer. 2025 or 2026 is probably when NTE will launch, so you will have plenty of time to play it by that time. But personally speaking, I'm not very confident in Hotter Studios at this moment in their optimization. Hotter Studios is the same studio that made Tower of Fantasy, and because of how unoptimized Tower of Fantasy was at launch, I am very skeptical, because when I wanted to start making content on this channel, I wanted to do it on Tower of Fantasy, but I wasn't able to because the game would straight up not go past the logo screen. So I'm not that confident, but I want to place my faith in the devs and hope that they actually get these things fixed and working. Now, there are a lot of other things that the devs talked about, and I don't really have enough time to talk about them, so I will link the post down below and you guys can actually go there and view it. Thank you all so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel for NTE, Azure Familia, Project Mugen, Wuthering Waves, Genshin Impact videos, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace, guys.